What is going on, everybody? This is the Cloud9 podcast, season 3, episode 8. So, yeah, we were actually going to have the episode yesterday, but I totally forgot that I scheduled a one-on-one yesterday, literally a week in advance, and then the guy reminded me of it. So, yeah, that's kind of the reason why we're having the show today, you know? But, yeah, going into next week, it should be either Wednesday or Thursday, just depending on how I obviously feel. On Tuesday, I'm going to go to my movie theater and watch something that's there that I haven't seen yet, because I'm having my 100 episode special for my Nightwing podcast on this Tuesday coming up for my main YouTube channel. So if you want to be a part of that celebration, make sure you subscribe to my main channel, linked in the description box below. And also, we're going to be on a new project for the main channel as well very, very soon. It's probably going to be something I haven't even bothered to even watch at all. So it's going to be a new experience. And I like to make sure, my projects are something that I haven't got a chance to see. And it's something that I obviously want to do that's going to have some fun, So, yeah. But we had a lot of crazy League of Legends series this past weekend with the LEC is over. The LEC 2022 spring split is over, and G2 Esports are your champions once again, your 9-time LEC winners. That 4 splits when they first came in, 4 splits when they won. The next time around, when it got rebranded into the LEC, didn't win any titles in 2021, then bounced back and win their 9th title at the beginning of 2022. Now, we'll talk about G2 a bit later, but there was some news that I wanted to make sure that I actually brought up to you guys, and that is if you actually follow the LCK, and I want to make sure I bring this up right now because people have asked me, because they know I like Showmaker and I like Canyon. So I'm kind of a fan of Damwon a little bit. So my friend asked me to go over some of the Damwon games because he said they were much worse, this split than they were in the previous splits. Well, that's going to be an obvious reason because they literally switched out 3/4 of their fucking team. Them switching out 3/4 of their team literally means that they're going to have a lot of struggles. And I saw that in a lot of the best of threes. They did start turning it around. I think around week 3 or 4 is when they started turning it around, honestly. And then Showmaker and Canyon looked insanely good. But if you are a fan of Damwon, then I actually have some, really good news for you, honestly, right now. And we're going to be going over it. So we're going to go over some news. We're going to cover the whole Champions Queue drama that was going on. And then we'll cover the LEC, and then we'll go over the LCS, and then we'll do our predictions, obviously, But people had asked me, are you happy that G2 won the split? Yeah, I support G2 in the LEC. They're my team that I root for in Europe. I obviously, was not exactly surprised that they won LEC. I did predict Rogue, but Rogue honestly looked really good throughout most of the spring split.
Yeah, I mean, I only predicted them at the end for finals, honestly, because I had flashbacks of just that Mad versus Fnatic series where everybody was like, oh, Fnatic, is on a hot streak, they have all the confidence going in, and then Mad just shut their carry potential down. So I thought that's what was going to happen there, but I did say that G2 should win, though, going into it.
Yeah, in my heart, I want G2 to win, but if I have to make a prediction that is based in logic and analyzing the games, then Rogue were definitely favored.
Well, for me, it was the opposite because I thought G2 was just stomping leading up to it, and finally reaching that potential. Caps finally woke the fuck up and stopped inting.
Because and this was the thing here is when they faced off against Team Vitality, they were looking really suspect. And I think, like I told you guys before in our previous show, they needed that series to bounce back because a lot of times, good teams like G2 will start faltering, and then they'll just lose a bunch of games, and then they'll lose a best of 5. And then you'll have these matchups coming along where they face Team Vitality, who are definitely not good. And then they'll struggle against Vitality, obviously. and then they'll end up winning like they did. It happens a lot throughout a lot of years of League of Legends. You need that series to bounce back. If you have a bounce back series like that, that gets the confidence going again, because like I think a lot of the interviews with the G2 players, then you had the Summoning Insight episode with Dylan Falco where they knew they were the best team. I don't know about that. I think that's a little bit of cap right there, because Rogue definitely looked like the best team throughout most of the spring split and going into the playoffs. They looked pretty solid. It was only up until that Fnatic best of 5 where Rogue started looking a little suspect, but it wasn't even that bad. It was actually just bad drafts that were really making them look like shit. Now, Fnatic, I think, aren't as bad as a lot of people are making them out to be, but they definitely have a lot of issues that we'll go over later, But, G2, the coaching staff and the players claiming that they knew they were like the best team. I don't know about that, because if you're like the best team, like you're like the secret best team that everybody like literally doesn't know about, then you could obviously play that much better on stage. But it just depends, because like on stage, teams are just going to play different. That's just how it is. Teams will just literally play different on stage compared to scrims. And people have always said Rogue is the best scrim partner, obviously. So everyone kind of knows how Rogue is going to play. They're going to play the same way they play in scrims as they play on stage, But I will go over the LCK news right now. And one of the reasons why I think Damwon actually performed a lot worse in this split compared to previous ones was because, not only did I mention this before, they literally switched out 3/5 of their team, new bot lane, new top laner, and Damwon's structure is literally all based around having a really strong top side. I mean, their top side is their team. They literally have to play like that. They have to play literally through their jungler, their mid laner, or the top laner. They don't really ever actually play through their bot lane ever, almost. They like to pretty much utilize their team the same way that G2 likes to utilize their team. Really strong top side. Then you have a bot lane that can either go even or at the most carry games. And that's a really good, nice style you have there with a nice structure with Damwon. But the reason why Damwon did not do very well toward the very end when they got reverse swept by Gen G was because Birdall, their top laner, is fucking garbage.
What do you mean?
He's not what Naguri is, right?
Okay, you're just hating.
I think he's just bad. I think he's just bad.
No, you're just hating in my opinion. You did not see his fucking amazing Akali games, man.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
He like leaped in and killed himself, giving over pressure on the map. I love it.
I
love it.
What do you mean? He was baiting them into a team fight MSK by killing himself, and then they're like, "Oh, we have the upper hand, the 4-on-5," and then they had Showmaker and Canyon win them the fight. It's good bait.
Oh shit! So as you guys know, Damwon, for their team structure, they need a player like Naguri, and if Naguri can come back to form like he was in the LPL last year for a good amount of it, he was like considered one of the best top laners in the LPL. That's the player you need, because their specific team structure relies on top, jungle, and mid. They have to be literally top 2 in their roles for it to work, or if not, at least top 3. They have to be at least top 3 in the roles for it to work, and you have a really safe bot lane. With Nuguri coming back to Damwon, I think this might be the tipping factor to give them the edge against T1. Actually, you need this tipping factor because there's not really any good top laners in the LCK from what the games that I did see from it. I just didn't really think
it's bad when Zeus is fucking first all pro team. Like,
that's fucking bad.
Yeah, and he did not deserve it. Whatever, like fucking Keen deserved it 100%.
Keen's, oh my god, Keen just forever wants to stand on freaking freaks and just die there. Eventually he'll learn. He'll learn eventually. Summit did. Someday learned. He'll learn
it's the same thing with Patrick. He should just go to NA and get the bag.
So, like I said before, guys, LCK right now has really weak top laners, and I think Damwon getting back Nuguri is a really good thing for them. This will give them the edge they need over a team like T1. The Damwon almost made the finals. You got to factor that in. With the ragtag fucking bandage team they had, they almost made the finals. You factor in, you have just one more good player. That's the next tipping factor you need into actually getting to the finals. And Damwon has been a pretty dominant team in the LCK. They won 3 back-to-back splits. They finished second place at both international events in 2021. They even won a world championship before, and they finished top 8 at their very first world championship. They're just an insanely good team. They're well coached, but you need to have their structure. Now, I don't know how they're still trying to utilize their bot lane. I really don't. But if their bot lane can be something like Flat Kid and Targamas, just albeit you need to be a bit stronger in the LCK, and you have to be definitely a world-class bot lane, I think it can work out. And I think with this addition back to Damwon, I think this could be the edge they need to take down T1. Now, is that possible? I don't know, because you have to kind of reacquaint Nuguri back into the team, the play style they're going through, the new bot lane they have, who's going to get the resources. I mean, let's be honest here. Nuguri, Canyon, and Showmaker don't need resources. They just run you over. The reason why you get rid of Birdall is because Birdall is not up to the standard of Nuguri. I'm sorry, he's just not. And we had 3 months to see this. Like, I'm sorry. Nuguri can go play on fucking Nong shit Red Force or whatever, or Fredit shit. You know, he can be there. But this is a world championship caliber organization here. They need a player like this back. I'm sorry, Birdall. You're just... Birdall was trash at Worlds.
What's your opinion on the bot lane?
I keep forgetting their bot lane's name. What are their bot lane's names?
Deokdam and Kellen, I think.
Yeah, Dekodam and Kellen. I think they're not a bad bot lane. They just don't know how to... I don't think Damwon functionally knows how to utilize them. I think, because, like, I saw the potential they have.
Well, yeah, last year they were good. Weren't they, like, the lead-in players and, like, player of the games for, like, those roles? Or
the problem here is... Well, actually, it's more of a benefit. If they can actually become a carry bot lane, that means Canyon, because we know Canyon doesn't have to dedicate resources to Showmaker and Nuguri. He's not going to ever need to do that. If they can become a carry bot lane and figure out what playstyle their bot lane is actually trying to fit into this new Damwon team, that's a really good thing. So as long as they kind of figure out how to utilize the bot lane and figure out what champions really work for them, they don't even have to have a huge champion pool. They just have to either go even in lane or just rotate whenever Canyon needs and just dive whenever he needs. Because Showmaker in lane doesn't really ever need help. Nuguri's not going to ever need help. Nuguri doesn't know the meaning of fucking, like, wards. This man just constantly pushes up. So I think this is a nice addition to have him back. As I said right here, reported by .esports. What's up, Matthew? How you doing, man? It's been a minute, man. How you guys? Oh, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I can finally watch you stream again. Awesome. Thank you, man. Although he underperformed at Worlds, he's still a world-class talent. Yeah, like, he underperformed at Worlds last year, but, like, I saw the idea of what he was trying to do. He's still very mechanically gifted. He's such a really good player. It just kind of sucked. It didn't work out at Worlds for him and FPX, but now back on his home region, on the team that he won Worlds with, it might actually work out a lot better. Nuguri to reportedly return to Damwon Kia ahead of the 2022 LCK summer split. The 2020 world champion is currently on an extended break. Yeah, because after he failed at Worlds with FPX, he just wanted to take spring split off. Nuguri is reportedly set to return from his competitive break and join former team Damwon Kia in time for the 2022 LCK spring split, according to Horizon Esports.
Or just don't play as bad as he did on fucking FPX, all right?
And this is why it's good if he comes back a bit sooner, because they can scrim with him and kind of figure out what the playstyle is going to be with him going in, figure out what the meta is going to look like for the upcoming split. This, like, I don't know if you're scared if you're Team 1, if you're looking at this, but this is definitely a team now with this addition that can at least challenge Team 1 for the title. I'm not saying they'll win if they even get to the finals, but it's definitely something that is a tipping factor for Damwon. It gives them enough of an edge to make it a scary threat, you know, because Showmaker, Nuguri, and Canyon all won a world championship together, and they literally finished second place at international events literally just last year. So this is not a top side you want to underestimate. Now, people are going to go like, what about Gen G? The problem here with Gen G is when you have a player like Chovy, I don't know what they intend to utilize Chovy for. I really don't, because Chovy's a player where his playstyle specifically takes up so many resources to the point where I'm not sure what their playstyle is going to be. And obviously, I like Gen G. They're the team I root for in the LCK. I like Ruler. I think Ruler's been a fantastic ADC for a very, very long time. I think he's on his way to getting his title eventually when he stops fucking
Sadly,
choking.
I'm just a bandwagon T1 fan, you know.
What kind of ramen did they fucking give you?
God, no, I actually did not like fucking bandwagon. No, like other people, like I cheered for them starting into. Okay, I did with Faker because you know Faker was the best, and that's the whole reason I became a fan of them in 2013 before they even won any world titles. But I didn't realize their team was that good. I just picked them because of the one player. So
Like,
I'm not a bandwagon like other people.
my thing here, because people always ask me, why do I think Chovy can't win? It's a mental block, and it's also the fact of the matter is Chovy's never going to be a player to sacrifice, ever. Chovy's not the kind of player that Faker is. Chovy is better mechanically, and Chovy's a better mechanical player and in other areas, right? But Faker is a complete player. He'll sacrifice for the team. He knows when to rotate, when to give his jungler attention, when to dive. Chovy just is all kind of just based around winning lane, win game. And that kind of style just doesn't win anymore, essentially. Like, it can, but the team has to be built into that structure. Kind of like IG of 2018. They were kind of all built into that style, so it works out. If the team is not on the same page for that one style, it's not going to work out. And also, yes, I do think if Chovy can eventually beat Faker in a playoff scenario where it matters, whether it be going to Worlds or a Finals, then he'll get over his hump, and I think he'll start winning championships. It happened with Jankos. He would like randomly just always lose in playoffs, choke, but then when he finally won that one championship, that one title, all it takes is one title for a player to win after getting to the finals consistently. Then they'll just start winning. Happened with Jankos, rookie, he won Worlds, and he just, after that, won the LPL split. RNG, they would consistently choke for a bit. They won a title, they won more titles, they won international tournaments. Sometimes with certain players on rosters, it just takes that one time to win. If Chovy can just get over that hump, I think he'll do good. But he's got to get over that hump, and he has to become a more complete player for that to even happen. Unless he becomes a more complete player, he'll never beat Faker. It's not possible. But as you guys know, Nuguri returning to Dan1 is good for them. And yeah, me and Sean are now going to talk about the whole Champions Queue thing. So here's what I'll say about this.
Yeah, there's one other player transaction I wanted to talk about after the Champions Queue, but yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so now on Twitter with League, because I follow a lot of people, everyone's been talking about this whole Champions Queue thing. And as you guys already know what Champions Queue is, it's basically a server that a lot of people have been literally begging for, like since I started watching League back in like 2014, from that off season leading into 2015, because it would give the pro players good practice where you'd be able to practice against other high caliber players, low queue times. It's basically just having a super server just for pro players. They play on lower ping like they play with on stage. Riot finally gives it to them, right? And then people don't really play it. I don't really know why, honestly. What's going on? What's the issue?
Because I don't know. People are to be fair, the Champions Queue there were some issues with it and with who gets like added into it. Like holy fuck, like some high level fucking players and like actual esports players didn't get added into it on actual fucking main org teams. Like I sort of got people like fucking Blaze, all of those level players. Some of them didn't get added to it, but then there were like fucking players who were like hard stuck diamond players, substitutes on amateur teams, just hard stuck diamond for like 6 seasons that got added to it who just stream on Twitch.
Like the thing here with Champions Queue is there's been so many different arguments and debates on it. My thing here is I don't know why the players that were advocating for this for a very, very long time finally get it and don't utilize it. Like some of the arguments were like, if you get a certain player on your team, it's just auto lose if you face a certain bot lane. Now, why doesn't that other pro player kind of nurture that other guy into being something that it can work?
I don't know. It's just like I saw a clip before, like Malice was just like, yeah, this game's done, GG, let's just lose, and then another. So yeah, you know, instead of somebody just being like, hey, no, and just like, you know, try to change his mentality around. They all just muted Malice in the Discord.
Like, this is my thing, is I just don't understand why campaign for something so much only to just literally not utilize it. Riot even put an incentive for them to play with this big giant cash pool that was there, obviously.
Yeah, I
right?
believe Jojo Pion won that.
Yeah, Jojo Pion was like the highest rated Champions Queue player. He literally was top of the ladder, obviously. Then you have the whole like Google Docs article coming out. Sorry, the whole Google Docs document coming out from Danny, where he said basically Champions Queue isn't effective practice. It's better to play solo queue because you hide strats, because people could like see the other username you're playing. When basically the Google Doc he prepared, it basically said, without saying it, it's like he just didn't want to get out of his comfort zone. That's basically what it meant. Now, this is the thing, is I'm not obviously a pro player. You know, they definitely are under a lot of pressure when it comes to performing in scrims on stage, but most people always say that playing solo queue is essentially worthless because you're playing against much worse caliber players. So why not utilize a tool that literally inherently puts you at players your level, and that would just make you better? Why would you want to play with inherently worse players?
They're stuck in their ways of because you know it's a new thing.
Why would you want to play with inherently worse players? People know this. If you play enough games, if you play against people that are just worse than you, you are not going to get better because they will literally not show you anything.
They're stubborn. That's why they're stubborn to like.
I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
Players like Doublelift bitch about things and bitch about NA being hopeless and not doing all this shit and just never ever gonna win worlds, and then when they do shit that's, you know, they ask for, then they're just like, nope. Yep. So I mean, it's the way it is. I mean, this is NA players for you.
Like, you had like Lorlo and, you know, Lorem, he's been on the show before. They were on Twitter talking about it and stuff like that, and I agree with them.
Who's the first one you said? A Lorem and who?
It was a Lorem and Lorlo. They were talking about
nice. Didn't you say you had Triple on before? Or?
I had him on, but I gotta contact him. Holy shit. God damn. I gotta bring a guy on and talk about Champions Queue. And
you should have a spot over fucking Palafox right now. God damn it. Anyway. My boy Triple needs an LCS spot. What are you teams doing out there? Oh my god. Yeah, and Lauren should have a spot over fucking some of these other
people.
players.
Like, guys, the top lane and mid lane pool in LCS is looking really, really suspect.
Yeah.
Just saying. But that's just me. Like, a lot of the people behind, like, the LCS and shit like that, they always say certain things, right? And then you have the fans and then the certain pro players that we have, they'll say they want certain things. Then when you get it, they don't utilize it. So what's the point of it then? Why bitch and moan for something that you literally were begging for, only to just not use it? Guys, here, I'll give you an example. As you guys know, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm not ever going to get better at playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If I play against people with certain decks that are worse than me. It is not possible. It doesn't matter if you. And also, there's the other route I'll go into in just a second. The reason why you'll never get better is because you are never going to get challenged in ways that make you think differently and make you better as a player. It's just not possible with people who are worse than you, unless those people who are worse than you somehow get enough to your caliber level to make it a bit even so you can be challenged, obviously. Now, the reason why you would want to play against players better than you and lose and potentially bounce back from that and learn from your losses is because that inherently makes you a better player. There's a friend I talked to where he goes like, well, if you lose enough scrims and your mental is damaged, then what's the point? Toughen up. I don't know what to fucking say. Toughen up. Stop being a fucking bitch. Stop being a fucking pussy. Oh my god. Like, you're not going to win
Stop being MSK. God damn it.
Like, just stop being a fucking pussy. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to lose every game, but the good thing about losing is you can learn from your mistakes and go, okay, this didn't work. I should have did this in this moment, all these different things. But if you're always winning, you will never be able to improve on specific things because you are never going to get challenged at your weaknesses. That's the reason why you want to play against players better than you. So then there's been these stories about like LCS teams literally like not scrimming because if they lose too hard, their mental is broken. That sounds like some pussy shit. That is the most dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, yo, Cloud9, by my knowledge, never does it because they fucking they said before they like went 0-10, 0-20 in
You know that
sprints in a
damaged
week.
Winsom's mental before that playoffs game.
Oh yeah, that damaged it. God damn it! Literally went from like the third best support to fucking just the worst in that fucking series.
Good God, he went, in my mind, he went from like maybe like top 6 to maybe.
No, in my opinion, it was top 3, but that's just because the NA support was, but just like everything in A. Because I wouldn't say Aframu was better. I wouldn't say any of like who
I think
was
Aframu,
better.
Alea, Core JJ,
Well,
who he played better toward the very end. I don't know if you want to kind of count that.
No, it's Vulcan and Core JJ who are better, and then Winsome third.
No, I would say Aframu performed better throughout the whole split.
I disagree.
With much worse caliber players. I'm just saying, like, Winsome looked okay in some games. I think he looked all right, but I don't think throwing him away was the best idea because, it's like, well, they did say they were losing a lot of scrims, and the problem here is if your support and your jungler aren't on the same page, you are going to look inherently worse. But then again, I don't think his play was really warranting him.
I mean, this is why I said they should have kept Vulcan, but I was cool with all the other moves. Just I thought they should have kept Vulcan. I didn't think there was a possible upgrade they could have gotten in that area. Same thing with Blabber, which is why I was fine with them keeping him, because with the import slots they were using, they weren't going to have enough room. So, but I mean, but then I was like, oh, Winsome was surprising me, so I was cool with it then. But now he just fucking mental boom. So I don't know.
Well, guys, that's kind of it with the whole Champions Queue thing. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. Certain players just having the worst, shittiest moods possible to it. It's just so dumb. Like, I just don't understand. What's the point of just curb stomping bad people? It just boosts your ego, so you have such a fragile ego that it has to be so protected.
Well, it's the same thing with Twitter, MSK, all right? Instead of, like, actually upping your IQ and, like, winning debates and actually understand what the fuck you're saying. If you say something dumb and then somebody's owning you in an argument on Twitter and then your self-esteem is low, what you do instead is then you just get all your buddies and your bot accounts to then like all your replies, so then you feel like you won. That's Twitter. That's basically the equivalent of NA solo queue right now, Champions queue. There we are.
Well, now it's time to talk about the... Oh, yeah, you have the one other piece of news you wanted to talk about, which
I don't have, like, an article for it up anywhere, but, and I don't know if it's, like, official or anything yet, or if it's, like, or if there's any update to it, but, I heard, like, a week ago that, they were... apparently they've learned fucking nothing from their last roster because Astralis is reportedly getting Vizicachi.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Astralis getting Vizicachi. So I guess they enjoyed 10th place again? Like,
they got an even older top laner with an even lower ceiling who literally retired for like 2 years, played on an Oceania play-ins team as an emergency, then went out of retirement, played on like an EU regional league, played decent, I guess, and then they fucking signed him as their top. I'm done.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, you're right. Sources, Astralis have signed Vizicachi as new top laner for the LEC. Vizicachi played for Gamers Origin in the LFL, the spring split, and finished top 8 at Worlds with Splice in 2018. This dude's got a long resume. Not just, guys, he has a very, very long resume. He's made finals. The only top laner ever to get MVP for the LEC back in like 2017 spring. Back then, holy shit, Unicorns of Love versus G2 finals. Holy fuck, I'm that old. I saw that finals I saw that finals in my old apartment. That's how old I am, guys. Holy fucking shit. But I don't know why they signed Vizicachi. Oh, whatever. Astralis, just enjoy being 10th place.
I guess they don't want to spend much money. Holy fuck. But do you have anything to say about that?
Man, there's a reason why that K-Corp probably is a much better team than Astralis. And by I don't know. It depends. I was watching some of the LFL games. Why didn't they just... Because that's the thing. Like, if you join a team like Astralis and you don't perform very well, then your reputation is just essentially damaged. But they don't really give you pieces to, like, succeed. You know what I mean? They don't really give you pieces to succeed. So I don't really understand how people behind the scenes can go like, okay, this guy didn't perform very well in Astralis. It's like, why would he? He has no good players around him to play with. I just don't get it. Like, they're gonna opt. So they've already kicked White Knight and Promise Q, and instead of White Knight, they choose Vizichachi. It all depends on if they get legitimate carry players. Like, I don't know if Zanzara can be like a carry jungler given the right meta. Who's that new mid laner they have? Oh my god, what's his name? Dejour? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Dejour. Like, he looked like he had some potential in like laning phase and 1v1s, but that's not really gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah, I told this, like, of course he looked good because he was on such a shit team and because he was good at 1v1s and stuff like that. He was getting kills and everything and looked aggressive and looked like he was making plays. And he was on such a shit team and he was playing his comfort champs a lot. Most games just playing kind of the same stuff. So, of course, he looked good and promising and being an 18-year-old. But in reality, everything else that you need for a mid laner, everybody just, like, unanimously agrees in the same, like, yeah, this guy sucks. Like, yeah, maybe he can improve, but yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't buy this stuff. Like, Dejour actually played okay. Like, I don't buy that. Like, Nuclear Int on, when he was on Schalke, I could believe, and I think he still was solid this year, but
Nuclear Int on
no.
BDS looked pretty solid overall.
Yeah.
Like, even that one guy they have, who's the... Syncroft. He looked pretty good on a fucking team that looked like shit, and people go like, well, he played bad. You look at his fucking team? Are we looking at the same shit?
To me, it was like my 4th or 5th jungler of the year.
I think he was on my all-pro team. He wasn't like
third.
He was your third.
Yeah.
He was third. To play that well on a team
for me,
that
I
shitty...
put like Selfmade and Razork 7th and
8th. Holy fuck. Holy shit. Give me a second, guys. Let me bring up the next thing really quickly. Let me go back. So I saw this earlier when Fnatic actually lost to G2. So now it's time to talk about the LEC. It is officially over. The LEC 2022 Spring Split is done, and G2 Esports are your champion. And the thing here is, coming into this year, a lot of people doubted G2. I didn't necessarily doubt them. I just didn't think they would actually win the split, but I did say they would still be top 3, given the fact that they have like a really good top set, actually, if Caps comes back to form. If Caps comes back to form, like I said before, then G2 obviously are going to do very well because they're going to have the mid laner that they invested into all these many years when he left Fnatic after he, lost to the 2018 World Championship Finals against Invictus Gaming. They've kept Caps over Perks. Ocelot made the hard choice. He had a decent slump in the regular split. He played really bad and then bounced back in the playoffs very heavily. And I even said this last year. Caps played bad in the regular season, but still managed to play well in the playoffs. He just somehow just turns it on in the playoffs. He just does, Now, whether that be because of the crowd or because they were gaining momentum is one thing, but the structure that G2 built their team around was good. They needed to get rid of Wonder. He just wasn't going to be that top laner anymore. His time as being the best top laner just ran out. It just happens. You're not going to be the best forever, and Wonder wasn't going to be the best forever. They got Broken Blade, who played really, really well on Schalke No Fear last year, and they actually almost defeated Fnatic, in that one best of 5, and they actually almost made top 4. Later on, they got knocked out by like another team last year. I forgot. I think it was G2 or something like that. But Broken Blade looked pretty good last year. They got him. Like, most people expected them to get Broken Blade based on how he was playing last year on Schalke No Fear. Then you pick out Flacket and Targamas. From what we hear, what Dylan Falco said, they played a lot of games with this bot lane to kind of figure out what they were getting into. Caps and Dylan Falco had previous synergy and knowledge and knew each other from their time in Fnatic. So Caps already liked Dylan Falco, so he just kind of brought him over. He mostly asked Carlos, hey, I want Dylan Falco. Get me that. Give me that pony, Dad. That pony, I want that one. Jankos has always been one of the best junglers in EU. Now, I'll say this because a lot of people were like, ragging on Malrong because he kind of underperformed in the finals against Jankos. you have essentially look at it this way. I don't think Malrong really underperformed. I don't think any of the rogue players really underperform in the finals. I think you have to look at it this way. G2 just have good players. And on any given day, these players are going to play really well or good depending on the situation, right? I think Jankos was at least, a top 3, top 4 jungler in the LEC. I don't know where I ranked Jankos.
No. Mal, again, these are the same people who are saying that all year of Mal Rain. They're idiots. No, he did not play bad at all. All right, he did his job and what Rogue wanted from him. The issue is everybody just figured out by now Rogue's playstyle. They figured it out.
Yeah, and that's nothing based around Malrong. Malrong has played literally good all year, just about as Jankos did. Now, the thing I don't understand, people, dude, is like they'll go, well, Jankos is better than Malrong. He outperformed him. Sure. That's what happens when...
Yeah, sure. He's a top 2 jungler. It's him and Malrain. Wow, so
what logic is that? That logic is horrible.
Outperformed him. What a horrible thing.
That's like in the LCK. Oh, dude, Faker got beaten by Showmaker. Are you retarded? Like, are you actually stupid? Jesus fucking Christ. Like, holy yes, guys. And people were ragging on Larson too. I was like, guys, Larson is playing much better than Humanoid. That definitely panned out, did it not? Humanoid was trying to go on vacation early. I get it. He was trying to go on vacation early. It's okay.
It's like, oh, Morgan outplayed Birdle. It's like, no shit.
It's like, I don't get it, guys. Don't look at Rogue's loss to G2 like it's just all of them underperforming. The only person in the Rogue series that I can kind of give you underperformed is Trimby. Everyone else, essentially, they did not underperform. They just lost to players that were on the same caliber with them, and then you had certain players on the G2 roster just playing a little bit better. Jankos and Malrong are like the top junglers in EU. So it's any given day, one of them will look better against the other one. Malrong got the better of him in the regular season. People were celebrating that. But in the playoffs, Jankos had it better. And that was one of the biggest issues coming into some of these playoff series with EU, because you have a lot of the teams that are like new to playoff series, right? In terms of mid jungle synergy. Caps and Jankos have literally played mid jungle since 2019? Actually, by now they played mid jungle for about, if they end this year with Jankos, Caps and Jankos will have played mid jungle together for about almost 4 years. If it pans, when it pans out by the end of this year, we know they're not going to get rid of Jankos. So by the end of this year, they'll have played mid jungle for 4 years. Misfits, new mid jungle, VTO and Shitton, Rogue, Larson and Malrong. Who else did you have? Who's at the team? Fnatic, Razork, Humanoid, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna look like in playoff scenarios. You need that connective tissue between your mid and jungle to really work, though. You need that essentially, because that is like a big decider of how you play out the early game. Whether you take Rift Heralds early, whether you dive someone, whether you kind of back at a certain moment, you push, and then obviously there's a lot of things that go into it, obviously, but I don't think Rogue really underperformed as bad as some people made him out to be. I just think that G2 managed to peak at the very right moment and getting their losers bracket run. Broken Blade being the only player to win LEC and LCS through the losers bracket in 2 different regions. That's crazy, actually. And G2 went 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Now, all they needed was the Vitality series to mentally bounce back. Now, that series looked sloppy, but I told people before, it's going to look sloppy because they need to win this, right? And they're going to be kind of scared on stage, because if they don't win the series, they're going to be out. And Vitality...
sorry, who was the other region? What other team MSK was at? G2 and who?
In TSM, remember? 2020?
Well, what do you mean? That never happened.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my goodness. Sean, oh my goodness. Give the man credit where credit is due. Oh my God. Jesus fucking Christ. So, yeah, like... G2 ended up winning, and I was happy for them. Obviously, I'm going to be happy for them. Why would I not be happy for them? I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it in convincing fashion. Yeah. Ever since
I thought they would do it in summer with how they were playing in spring.
But they're like, hey, let's just do it in spring.
Yeah, I mean...
I guess
I'm ashamed of you, MSK. You're a G2 fan, and yet me and Me and Warren were the
Because
ones that put
I
them
like
in
to look
S
at things
tier number 1.
realistically. You guys have this like hope shit going on in your
No,
brains. Yes, you
we
do.
calculated it.
Calculated what?
Yes,
These
what,
are
they had
a
the better
completely new
players.
bot lane.
We said
What?
we said Flockid would be a top 5 ADC. We said Target Moss would be a top 2 support. We said Caps and Yankos would be top 2 in their role. And we said
that did
Broken
not
Blade
pan
was the
out
best top.
initially. You make that sound like it's rainbows and sunshines, you fuck. In some of these games, before like a lot of this playoff series, in the Vitality series, their bot lane got outperformed very hard by Karzi and Lebrov. And that's not good, obviously.
Yeah, because of chemistry.
Yes, but the issue here is a lot of the pieces didn't really work until the Misfit series is when it all kind of came together. So they just needed that Vitality win just to kind of get over some sort of like, I guess, hurdle, because I guess in their brains, they kind of needed that to essentially go like, okay, our plans are good. Our prep is good. It can work.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're like, there were like asterisks to it. Like, yes, the chemistry needed to work with G2, and yes, like Caps needed to make a comeback and wake the fuck up. But
Costa, what's up, man? How you doing, dude?
Okay, but every single team MSK that you predict in S tier is going to have an asterisk, obviously.
Always. Now, this is the thing with the LEC right now. Like, I'm glad G2 did what they did, but in any given world, are they going to be able to do it again in summer? Like, if some of these teams make just a small adjustment, like Rogue and Fnatic, it's very possible they could beat G2. Case in point, Fnatic did beat G2. Fnatic was the only team to beat G2 in the playoffs, actually. They're the only team that were able to do it. G2 beat everybody else except Fnatic the one time. They actually went 1-1 with Fnatic in the playoffs. So, with that being said, I'm just saying, if Fnatic or Rogue make an adjustment to how they're playing, it's very possible they can beat G2. It's possible. I'm just saying. Because Fnatic did beat them a week before, and the Fnatic just, mentally imploded, upset, wanted to go to have sex with his wife, probably do some like 6ix9ine or some shit. That's really what he wanted, essentially. What's up, Cop? How you doing, man? Rogue did underperform, though. The decision-making was so much worse than regular season. They literally team fight without vision, with soul spawning in 50 seconds. Yeah, I saw that too. Like, in the finals, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. It wasn't more or less so like players. I would say their macro decisions were a lot worse, actually, too. Malrung was the only guy trying to actually win a title. Oh my god. Matthew says, I didn't thought that Rogue would still lose this year. Rogue had us drinking some Kool-Aid, but this is the thing, is like, no, I don't know if I'm really able to give up on Rogue yet, guys. I'm not, but they like I told you before, they can't win over this. You're not gonna ever win over this. This is always gonna be king. But I would like if they eventually won, because Oda Wamna's been trying to win for so long. But hey, you gotta perform when it matters, essentially. Speaking of performing when it matters, let's talk about Fnatic. So I know you guys here are Fnatic fans, and obviously we just put you into the dirt, this past Saturday, but it's okay. It's all fun and good rivalry, right? There was this one guy on Twitter who actually wrote a twitlonger to the CEO of Fnatic, and he actually replied to him. Now, here, I'll read a good amount of this. I think I can read most of it. Most of this covers like Fnatic always losing in the LEC. But here's what I'll say. Let's put this all into perspective, because you guys know me. I like to speak in facts. So, since Europe ended up branding their LCS, their EU LCS, into the LEC, obviously, okay? So, Fnatic has made, from the first year of it rebranding in 2019, they've made 4 of the finals in the last 3 years. 2019, back-to-back. 2020, back-to-back. That's when the whole big G2 versus Fnatic rivalry, like, I think, honestly reached its peak. That's when it reached its, like, apex right there with the G2 and Fnatic rivalry. You got the G2 super team, Fnatic getting Nemesis, it not really working out. Then the next year they try something similar by getting in self-made, but that doesn't work. You guys know the story, obviously. They bring an upset, for 2021. And in 2021, what's crazy about like a lot of fans is they'll like discredit certain things that clearly exist. Let's factor this in. Who stopped G2 from going to Worlds last year. At the very last minute in that third place decider match, it was Fnatic. Okay? Fnatic, G2's longtime rivals, were the first team ever to stop them from going to a world championship. Similar to when Cloud9 was the first team to stop TSM from going to World Championship, and then TSM delivered it right back to them in 2020, obviously. Okay, so I know people are like mad with Fnatic right now for a good amount of reasons, but I'll say this: it's not all bad though. For 2019, 2020, they make back-to-back finals. Some of the final, no, sorry. The spring split in 2019, they lost to Origin. Sorry about that. They at least got third place. So at least at the most, you can say they're at least getting top 3. So past the 2019 LEC spring split, they literally make the finals. Okay, 3 splits in a row, they still have made the finals. Okay. Then in 2021, they stopped G2 from going to Worlds, and they went to Worlds themselves. Okay. So factor this in. Are they really as bad as some people say? Like, I mean, if you're factor this in, people have said EU has gotten a lot better, yet Fnatic for the last, like, you say 2 years, they've made finals consistently. You know, last year they stopped G2 from going to Worlds. You know, and you can say last year the spring split was really bad from them when they almost lost to like Schalke. No, not only when they almost lost to like SK Gaming and like got fucking beaten by that other team or some Mad Lions, I think it was, right? But then you also have to factor in they brought in Adam, and then they eventually made the finals last year for the LEC 2022 summer split. So they literally were just in the finals last year. This is not made up shit. That legitimately happened. So I don't really know what is really going on with them to like not, finish at the finish line, because essentially the finish line is Fnatic winning a title, because like their brand mostly is about winning and being like something that the European fans can be proud of. Like Fnatic's brand identity has been really weird lately. Ever since they lost like key Fnatic players from the past, like Xpeke, Reckless, Caps, Soaz. I mean, they lost Bwipo. They lost a lot of players over the many years. They don't really have any truly recognizable faces except Hillisang, who's been there since 2018. He's been their longest standing tenured member. And Upset kind of has become their focal member right now. I mean, Wonder joining is a nice addition for them, but I don't know about the Fnatic players right now in terms of like how fans see them. But Nemesis was a really big part.
It's all mainly just name value.
Yeah, like Nemesis was really big for them before he eventually left. Niski was pretty big for them before he left, despite being on there for just a year, and like like a lot of fans are like giving up on them, which is really weird. Okay, factor this in, guys. The fans said after they lost Reckless, they would not be able to do anything. They would just become more of like a bottom feeder team. And I'm not a Fnatic fan, obviously. I rep this shit over here, the Samurai team. I rep this team. But I give credit where credit is due. People, just like with the whole Sneaky situation, fans said to the Cloud9 people, without Sneaky, you are going to fail. What happened? The next split, they went 17-1 and actually won a title without Sneaky. What happened without Reckless in 2021? In spring split, yes, it didn't really work out. But in summer, they made the finals and actually made it to Worlds. People said they weren't even going to make Worlds without Reckless, and they did. People said they weren't going to make finals without Reckless, and they did. Okay? So it's not like there's some truly shit organization or they bring in like shitty players. Something is wrong with maybe how they're seeing the game. Maybe it's a player-to-player thing. I don't personally know. Honestly, like if Fnatic ever win a title again, it's possible that, people have more faith in the brand, but Fnatic hasn't won a title since the EULCS rebranded into the LEC. So you also have that to deal with as well. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I think the Fnatic CEO, Sam Matthews, I don't really know what his involvement with the League of Legends team is. He said that they spent more than a lot of other teams. The only team they didn't outspend was like Vitality, because Vitality was dumping buttloads of money into their fucking roster that ended up fucking failing. But I don't know. Sean, what do you want to say before we cover this? You want to say anything about Fnatic and their recent struggles to not win a title in the LEC? Okay, I think Sean is dead. So yeah, Fnatic has had quite the bit of struggles winning a title post EULCS rebranding into the LEC. They just have. So I don't think it's fair if you're a longtime Fnatic fan to just give up on them. I think that's ridiculous. Like, longtime Cloud9 fans stuck it out with Cloud9, and they didn't win a championship for 6 years. And I know what that felt like, not winning a title for a very, very long time. They won the previous title before I started watching, you know, which still counts as I'm still a fan of theirs, obviously, because I went back and rewatched. But, you know, Cloud9 hadn't won a title until like 2020 spring, you know? So that's a lot of years being a fan of that org without winning shit. But they still perform very well. They still do well at Worlds, obviously. You know, I just don't get why people are so easy to give up on them. It's crazy. Like, it's
I don't get it.
Like, if you claim you're a diehard Fnatic fan, just stay a Fnatic fan. Eventually, they're going to win a title. They literally made finals last split when everyone said they wouldn't. And without Reckless. People said upset would be donkey shit. That definitely isn't true. We played kind of bad at this playoff series, but you guys get my point, obviously. You know? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't understand.
Yeah, the way, like, Fnatic has been handled over the years, I've just lost like all passion in this team. I never really had a favorite EU team that I was passionate about in the same way I was with IG, T1, and Cloud9. But and I've always like had like teams though that I kind of like though, like G2, Misfits, Unicorns of Love, Rogue. But yeah, I mean, out of all of them though, Fnatic was kind of my favorite for a little bit, mainly because of Reckless. But at this point, I've like lost all passion in this team. Honestly, I don't know if I should even be a fan anymore. Just the way they've handled this, and always given up on players, or just the lack of identity. I just don't get it.
They're literally the fucking EU TSM. They've always been
and
that.
IG is kind of going down that road as well now. But I'm still a fan of them. But yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's my thing. There's been like some really fickle fans out there. Whenever their org that was winning starts losing, they start going, "Oh, I'm just gonna leave." Then you were never a fan to begin with. You were never a fan to begin with if you even contemplate leaving. It's not like Fnatic, outside of G2, Fnatic has the most titles. They have like 7. So it's not like there's some donkey shit org that don't know how to win. And yes, I rag on them for a lot of things when they definitely do bad things, you know? And I don't know, because with the Fnatic content, you don't really see Fnatic's owner really interacting with the team. Maybe it's just a different thing, because G2 is like all involved with Ocelot. Ocelot is very, very involved when it comes to like G2 and stuff like that. So I don't personally know, honestly, why you don't really see Sam Matthews as involved with Fnatic as much as Carlos. Maybe it's just a different. They're just different. And people don't understand, Fnatic is different from G2, and G2 is different from Fnatic. But if you're a real fan, you'll stick it out. They'll eventually win a title. They literally just got to a finals last split. And 2019 LEC summer through 2020 LEC summer, they made the finals back to back to back. You know, it's not like they're like not trying to win, because if you would say they're not trying to win, obviously they'd be making some donkey shit roster moves. Just this past off season, they brought in Humanoid, 2-time LEC champion. They brought in Razork, who looked really good on Misfits. They brought in Wonder, which now is pretty questionable considering how bad he's been playing. You know, they kept their finals contending bot lane, which is fine, obviously. And I'll go with this tweet longer this guy had for them, which was a letter to Sam Matthews / Fnatic. Dear Sam and the higher-ups in Fnatic, I am a Fnatic fan who people see as the voice of the Fnatic fans. I organize meetups where we go and watch Fnatic play. I also have a Discord server that is especially made for the most passionate Fnatic fans, and I just cannot remain silent and say to myself, oh, unlucky, next split/year is going to be better. So what are my concerns? Firstly, I want to mention the fact that Fnatic fans are not being treated in a fair way. The fan base used to be the best and still is one of the best, if not the best. I don't feel appreciated as a fan, and it's not only me. All fans feel isolated and unassociated with the team. Interactions with the fans is lacking a lot. The only person to have thanked the fans for the support after the G2 loss was Hillisang. The fan base has remained loyal through thick and thin, no matter what. It has been 4 years. Well, it's actually been 3 years, because 2019 through 2021. It has been 3 years of no trophies in League of Legends. Technically, if you want to count this year, it's probably 4, but you guys see my point. And still, you have so many loyal, loving fans, but still disregard them. I know losses are hard, but writing a thank you to the fans is not hard. Drop your egos and start including the fans in your journeys. In football, all the players and clubs do is treat the fans the best they can, thanking them at every opportunity because they're the ones who are paying your bills. And every time there is a toxic vocal minority, all we see is how terrible Fnatic fans are, while never hear anything about the overwhelming supportive majority. I can't really talk about NFTs because I'm not really experienced on that, so I can't really speak about that. A bit about my community, FFC. I got told by different people close to Fnatic that Fnatic will maybe ask pros, staffs, VIPs to leave FFC because apparently it's too toxic. We are not perfect, but we were always there to support you when you were down. Then you have content creators coming to FFC to drop their video links and dip without interacting with us. It feels like we are getting treated like dogs. We asked one person if he can ask other players to simply join the server, but they said, I have bigger fish to fry, which is extremely disrespectful. Stop using your fans and just reward them instead with respect and love. We are not your slaves. And then this is about CSGO. I can't really talk about that either. I think they said FFC. I'm pretty sure FFC is their Discord. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's their Discord they have, honestly. Okay, so I can't really read about CSGO. I'm not into that at all, and I'm going to fake that shit. Identity. For a while now, Fnatic had no identity. I know Fnatic likes to promote performance as their identity, but what performance are we seeing? No trophies. The fans could be considered the identity, but considering how you treat them, they aren't either. Players, people keep on leaving Fnatic. It is really hard for many fans to keep on supporting this team. Why? What are they supporting? Right now, it feels like we are supporting a business that couldn't give a fuck about us. We might as well be supporting Amazon or Tesla. Most sport clubs get their fans because they live in their city or have an identity that resonates with them. Obviously, in this case, the location does not really work out, except CSGO, where the identity was being Swedish, but now that's not the case anymore. So why are we still supporting? G2, Ocelot, community, fan interaction, fan appreciation, actually a family. I don't feel any of that with Fnatic, and I am not leaving or anything. I am just letting it all out. People always knew me as that very positive guy who always supported Fnatic and their decisions, and always had that dream of working for them, but it's slowly going away after what I see or hear. My good friend, Lord Flab, has been in the scene for ages, traveling to support Fnatic. He saw it all unfold in front of his eyes and switched to G2. Another guy leaving to G2 for crying out loud. And not just another guy, the biggest Fnatic fan who I looked up to, and I understand him even if he is throwing his loyalty away. G2 gave him a job to travel leading supporters. Why the fuck did Fnatic not offer him that when he was literally perfect for it? Apparently, they actually give you support in G2 and not leave you to the wolves if you work for them, by the way. Sam, I noticed something when you visited the LOL boys. The atmosphere was so awkward, as if you didn't even know your players. After you visited, they went 2-6 against Rogue and G2. It was 2-6 against G2. The interactions with the players felt so unbelievably scuffed. Doesn't seem like a good morale boost, does it? But hey, we've got crypto and NFTs now. Very cool. Meanwhile, G2 destroyed our third Nexus once again because they actually are a family. It's almost like a tradition losing to those bastards, even with a better roster. Well, you could have a better roster on paper. That doesn't mean it's going to actually live up to those expectations. One of the things that is disingenuous with just this part is people forgetting the last two best of fives, Fnatic got the better end of them. Just saying. Fnatic versus G2, a legendary rivalry, but almost a very one-sided one. Why? I noticed that G2, they are always smiling, laughing, cheering up. They actually feel like a family, even if it's a family of clowns. When I look at Fnatic, League of Legends, it feels so awkward to me, so forced. I really like the addition of Wonder to the team. He is a product of G2, always laughing, trying to keep the atmosphere up. This is what has to happen within the team. You can only get so far with 5 very good players if they are not a family. And don't get me started about the staff team. Why does G2 have a football team behind their coach? If Yamato Cannon needs support, provide him with support. Support your employees, for crying out loud. Give them the resources. So what's really weird is that the only slight contradiction I see in this Twitlonger is he says like, well, we lost to G2 and they have worse players. But you admit that just having 5 good players is just not going to do it. Like I've always explained this before. Just having 5 good players is really not ever going to do that. Because G2 don't have like 5 good players in every single role. They have players that understand what their role is and they let the other like really good players take over when it needs. Fnatic, it seems mostly like Razork and Humanoid don't have good synergy. Hylissang and Razork have bad synergy between your mid and jungle. Then you also have Upset, who has been kind of invisible when it came to the playoffs this year. Just kind of felt invisible, played really bad in the G2 series that they played on Saturday, actually. So, you know, it's not about just having 5 good players. It's figuring out how these players actually work together is the thing. Humanoid started looking really, really, really fucking bad toward the latter end of ever since that Rogue Best of 5. He looked like shit. Like even just the drafting looked like absolute ass. The drafting looked like shit. Why are they picking that TF comp 4 times in a row, knowing they completely cannot play it? That is borderline ridiculous. People, that is insane. That means that they are so deluded that they think they can play that comp out, knowing they've already lost to it. They cannot play that comp as what they have showed us. So why are they picking it 4 times in a row? They did. No. Yeah, make sure you pick TF the 4th time in a row because that fucking second time didn't really show me I can't play that shit. And Humanoid definitely showed he is just playing bad compared to all the expectations that we've seen out of Humanoid and Mad Lions, right? Now, Sam versus Ocelot. This is so one-sided as well. You have Ocelot being the absolute hype machine and terror on Twitter, interacting with the fans. Heck, this guy who is asking for a G2 jersey on a daily basis and Ocelot always replying to him is actually hilarious, even though I hate the clown. It's crazy. Calls Ocelot a clown, yet this clown org is crushing yours. Get the fuck out of here. But there is no denying that he is just doing it way better than Sam. You have one guy who wants to win everything while also making profit with the org, of course, and then you have just a scuffed businessman who doesn't know what the fans want. Also, this is just a thing where, like, when Fnatic was winning in Europe, they were the only winning team. And then when you have competition, you get to see all of the flaws that exist within an org. Kind of like when, TSM was winning everything, then you have other guys start winning. You start to expose another org for their actual not good things they can do. G2 essentially exposed Fnatic essentially for things that they weren't good at. It's what competition does. And it's not about building the best roster. It's generally about understanding what fans want out of Fnatic, what merch they can sell. I bought in Fnatic merch before. I like their merch. I actually have the newest Fnatic jersey coming in very, very soon. I ordered the 2022 G2 jersey, because this is the 2021 version. I'm gonna get the 2022 version very soon. Like, it's not just about understanding what the fans want, it's also about understanding what the League of Legends side needs. Like, their drafting is really suspect. The way they play is super, how would I say it? The way they play is more like, if Hylissang doesn't really pop off for the bot lane, they don't really do anything. Humanoid looked really bad toward the end of the spring split. Razork looked like he never really got it together. Wonder just stuck on an island. You know what I mean? Like, just issues after issues after issues after issues. But the problem here is that they were actually never able to solve these things. Now, I don't know if it was because of scrims. I don't know if it was because of some mental block. Because a lot of teams tend to do very well at the very beginning of a split before other teams start figuring them out. Maybe they just got figured out. If they don't play through bot lane, they don't really actually play the game very well. But then again, they managed to actually get, what was it, third place? Yeah, second place in the split, actually. So they proved they can win certain games. They proved they can win a lot of games, actually. Just depends. I think they have good players, but it just depends on what playstyle you are truly opting into. Because unless you actually figure out which playstyle you are opting into, this is not going to work. And it's not about Sam Matthews or anything like that. It's mostly about, because I don't really know the guy to talk about him personally, because I don't fucking know what he does for Fnatic. He probably does a lot for Fnatic. They've been around for a very long time, So it's definitely not, it's because people look at one guy doing one thing and they go, okay, we want our guy to do that. Some people just aren't like that. Not everyone's going to be the same, just because like Ocelot interacts with G2 fans a certain way doesn't mean that Sam is going to be that guy. That's just how life works. Just because I'm a certain way doesn't mean you're going to get that from another, content creator you watch for League of Legends podcasts. That's just life, guys. Not everyone's going to be the same. Something I had to learn when I was growing up, actually, even just in my more adult years, actually. So finishing this off, that's it from me. I never wanted to go against you guys, but some serious changes are necessary. It's crazy how, like, he says, like, some serious changes are necessary, yet they still made top 3. They still made top 3. They were actually one best of 5 away from making to the finals. It's just, you have this, I don't know how to explain it. You have this load of just super huge, disingenuous arguments and scenarios people just bring up. And I don't get it. People have to factor this in. If they had beaten Rogue in that best of 5, they make it to the finals. Guys, back-to-back finals they could have made. Without Reckless. And remember, without Reckless, they still were able to be a top 3 team in the LEC. Okay? It's not like they went and got shitty players. They got players with proven success. I think the Wonder pickup, now looking back on it, is a little suspect because he did not really play that good. But you guys can understand kind of where they were going with it. If he does come back to form, he's going to be a monster. That's only if he comes back to form. That's only if you know how to utilize Wonder. It's not going to be the case now, obviously. I speak on behalf of many Fnatic fans, and I want to see Fnatic on top again. If you have to sell Fnatic to a sports club who can actually run things, please do it. Oh, and by the way, we are those loud guys from the London Worlds watch party. If you actually forgot about us, up the black and orange. Hashtag always Fnatic. Hashtag Fnatic win. Really crazy. Really, really crazy. What's super crazy about all of that is Sam Matthews actually replied to this guy. I think somewhere he did, so this guy point out, Razork said in a stream he was struggling hard in the adaptation to the team since he had to live in a hotel alone and then go to office to work. He talked about previous teams being like a family altogether. So what this guy is saying is totally true. Razork stated this. Yeah, people say, like, this is past players saying this as well. Playing on Fnatic is like playing in a business, But all of the best teams that you've seen in the past, they kind of play like a family. So you kind of can understand why that could be kind of a different feel and very jarring to certain people overall. It's just how that's going to work, I think Oslo replied to him as well, somewhere under here. Actually, Dardo, the guy that's running the League of Legends program, replied, honestly. Let's see. LEC Wulo replied. He says, hey, I personally totally understand the importance of fans in esports, as it's literally thanks to fans and audience that everything is monetized. I won't comment on the whole tweet longer. However, I think it's hard to criticize an organization for lack of results. Thank you. Someone of reason. Thank you. Thank you. Holy shit. If we look at the LEC, for example, even if G2 lift the trophy and Fnatic didn't, you can hardly say that it's because G2 Esports made better decisions. In fact, for what's about off-season, I think G2 Esports took bigger risk. Now, you could want Fnatic to take the same risk, but if they don't succeed, you could blame Fnatic again for lack of results, even though they would have made the same decision as G2. I think it's really important to look at the decisions being made and not the results. Yeah, he's basically talking about, results-based analysis, which is not the best way of looking at things. Obviously, results aren't all about off-season. It's also culture management and many other things. But Fnatic can be grateful that they have fans that gather to improve the org rather than leaving. Note, though, I'm just saying this based on League of Legends, as I don't know about other esports, though, by the way. If two different orgs are consistently bad or good in all of esports, then the sample size becomes big enough to start rising questions. But for League, Fnatic has historically done well. Yeah, and that's the thing here, is I think the twit longer is a little bit disingenuous based on Fnatic has put up some decent results. I'm just saying, though. Like, they literally made Worlds last year just by people saying they weren't going to make Worlds with Reckless. You know? Like, it's... results-based analysis can be the best thing or it can be the worst thing. Just depends, obviously. Dardo says, appreciate the feedback. I offer myself to try and help make some stuff happen for the fans and gather some more concrete feedback that leads into action points for us. We can do it with 3 to 4 voices from your side in FFC in your Discord channel in a video call. Oh, my goodness. That's pretty cool. I just hope they eventually do that. I don't know what this is really going to do, honestly. So Sam Matthews actually replied to the guy, and he said, hey, in B, of course I didn't forget you. Was great to meet you. Thank you for writing this letter. I'm going over it and will respond to you soon in full. Fnatic has always been about its fans and always will be. All the moves we are making are further to align this eternally, you know? So, yeah, this is the thing. There's a lot to really go over when it comes to, like, Fnatic and all of what they're going through. I just hope that Fnatic can bounce back in the LEC 2022 summer split. Like, but bouncing back is really hard for them because they make top 3. But in the last best of 5 series, they looked good in the first 2 games before they started losing everything. They looked pretty solid overall, you know? I just don't know what really happened. They just either 1A got figured out at the very last minute, or they simply just got figured out. That could happen too. And like I said before, if they don't really know how to essentially draft what is around their biggest strengths, it's also going to suck. Also, them picking that same TF comp so many times in a row is just ridiculous. I just don't understand it, you know? Like, they've had these issues for a very, very long time with different players, multiple different roster iterations, you know, ever since the LEC comes into play. Fnatic hasn't won a title, but I don't think it's fair, like Wulo said, to judge a team just based off of purely results when there's other results to show that they're still actively competing to try and win. If all people measure success is from a title, then you're going to look at things very narrow-minded. Some would say TSM fans, obviously, you know? I'll just talk about Rogue for a second here, for a little bit. So Rogue, on the other hand, Rogue failed at the last minute to obviously win a title. Now, Rogue looked good for majority of the LEC 2022 spring split. You know, Rogue honestly looked fine. You know, they just failed at the last minute. I don't think it was one player in particular that truly underperformed. Like, Rogue in like the past, 4 splits has finished top 4, top 2 first place sometimes in regular seasons, more than 14 wins, finals appearances. Like, they definitely have a formula that is working for them to bring out success. And with some esports orgs between LCS and LEC, some of them have some really good, like, formulas working. All that needs to kind of solidify it is just winning a trophy, because they're doing all of these preparations, these certain draft picks, these coaching staff changes, all the stuff goes into winning a trophy, And I think Fnatic is on their way back to winning a trophy. They're getting closer and closer. Rogue is definitely knocking on the door of winning a championship. They just have to close out. And I don't really know why Rogue couldn't do this. They opted into very bad drafts, with the whole Lulu composition thing. They genuinely thought that was a good thing to pick, even though it was clearly shown it wasn't. They switched from that play style and went like, okay, the whole Lulu composition isn't working. At least Rogue are understanding enough to understand that they aren't going to do very well with something, so just completely able to throw it out the door. The problem here with Rogue that I had in their game 3 against G2 was they were up in the game and they just somehow lost it. Like, they're fumbling all their plays when they're the ones who are ahead. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, holy shit. Like, how can they do this? If they had actually won that game 3 against G2 when they were up in the game, you might have seen a different story. You might have seen G2 get reverse swept, but didn't happen. So I think Rogue and Fnatic are on their way to getting a title. Rogue getting their first title is very much on the horizon. Fnatic getting their 8th title is very much on the horizon. We see it, but you got to definitely close out. They start strong, but you need to finish strong too. G2 started strong, had issues, but they ended up finishing strong. Rogue started strong. They ended up just missing out the very last minute, but they showed that they can reverse sweep and come out of situations. They are definitely getting over like some of their choking issues. I think Malron was a great addition to their team. I think Otawamane was like the best top laner throughout most of the regular split so far, even in playoffs, honestly, for them. I think Larson's still a really good player. People still kind of really, really underrate him, honestly, which is so stupid considering he's been a top performer for a very long time. He just lost to Caps and Humanoid consistently, which is really crazy. Trimby and Comp being a really, really good bot lane, honestly. Trimby just failing in front of fans. And I think the fans coming into the stage this week really affected a lot of the players. You can tell like some of the Fnatic players like really got like anxious around fans again. They were making like a lot of uncharacteristic plays, So that's just me personally when it comes to, Europe right now. We're going to talk about Europe more and more on other shows, but that was just my thing on Fnatic and Rogue. I think Rogue are on their way to getting to that first title. It just, you gotta perform when it matters, and performing when it matters in the finals is good. You can get to the finals all you want, and multiple finals appearances is good. I'm not going to discredit that, but out of all of these finals appearances, Rogue has to eventually win. Time is going to run out eventually to win a title. Other orgs improve in terms of how they want to structure their League of Legends teams. In terms of, there's a certain year where maybe one org spends more money and their roster trips over and wins a title. Rogue are not always guaranteed able to do this. Like at a certain point, people leave the organization, players leave, different teams, all that other stuff. But yeah, Sean, did you want to say anything about Rogue? Actually, now that they're done, we won't be seeing them until the LEC 2022 summer split. I think Sean is busy jacking off. Other than that, we'll just go to the LCS, actually. Give me a second, guys. Let me bring up the LCS, okay? Give me a sec. But yeah, guys, that's the thing with EU. Thought I'd get all of my frustrations out there. With Fnatic and Rogue, I definitely don't think they're bad, given their results in EU. Rogue has made Worlds ever since 2020. They've made back-to-back Worlds appearances. Fnatic just got back to Worlds actually just last year. So, just I'll say this too for like fans out there that might watch this. Don't expect the way one guy interacts with people to be like this other guy has to do this. That's decently disingenuous. All right. So the LCS actually. So if you're an LCS fan, let's go over some of these games. And some of these drafts were looking pretty fucking suspect. Just saying right here. Specifically when it came to the Cloud9 and Golden Guardian series. Now, a lot of people would say that Cloud9 essentially bounced back against Golden Guardians. I mean, I never thought there was a world where Golden Guardians could beat them. Just saying. I never thought that there was a world where that was even possible. Because I just honestly didn't... I just didn't think Golden Guardians were the team to really punish Cloud9. And I think that the Golden Guardians series against Cloud9 is going to be really good for Cloud9's mental, moving forward, because it's going to at least show them, okay, we're not really bad. It's all potentially in our heads. What the Golden Guardian series proves is the fact that they can put Summit on a different champion, a weak side champion, in terms of maybe an Orin or a Scion, Gangplank, and then you had Fudge and Blabber kind of stepping up. They bring in Isles, and Isles was a player that a lot of people went like, okay, Cloud9's bringing up a brand new support right now in the middle of playoffs. That can't possibly work out. But they brought up Isles specifically because he could better communicate with Blabber and Fudge, your key communicators in a team, and you're communicating with mid and jungle. You need to have that open communication all the time. Now, when it comes to the Cloud9 series, I know a lot of people kind of rag on Tigris's play-by-play casting. I don't really like it that much either, but I don't hate her, obviously. Everyone's got to start somewhere. But all right, let's look at the Cloud9 versus Golden Guardian series, because I would honestly look over the fucking Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest series, but that series was so fucking bad. Holy shit, that shit was awful. Oh my goodness. People say, well, Cloud9 ends up bouncing back against Golden Guardians. I don't think they were ever in any danger of losing to this donkey shit of a team. So the first game, you had Golden Guardians drafting Orin, Nocturne, Corki, Zaya, Braum. Not a bad comp, honestly. I don't think it was a bad comp overall, good God. Then you had Cloud9 drafting Gangplank, Lee Sin, Victor, Misfortune, and Leona. What's up, dude? Tigris is unwatchable. Oh, yeah. In some case, yeah, that I'm not going to also disagree with. I think that Tigris can improve at being a better play-by-play. I just don't know what she can really improve on. That's just me personally. I don't think she's the worst thing ever, honestly. So with the Golden Guardians and Cloud9 series, you had Golden Guardians opting into drafting Nocturne, but I think Pride Stalker is better on more of an early game playmaking jungler. I think Nocturne really doesn't come online, obviously, until level 6, when he can do the paranoia thing, where he can make everything go, black, the darkness ult he has. I just don't really understand why they would draft it 3 times in a row, But I do like that this series showed that you can put someone on a Gangplank in Orin, and the other Cloud9 members can step up. I think that Isles played decent for his first playoff series. And remember, guys, Cloud9 is in the losers bracket. They lose this, they're out. But it's nice to have this. It's nice to have these morale wins. And, Golden Guardians knows that if they don't kind of shut down somebody, he's going to essentially take over the game. Now, even when they were focusing a lot of their pressure on Summit, Cloud9 still did very well in the other parts of the map to really kind of, what's that word? To kind of ease the pressure that Summit was getting. They were doing well around the map, which is good. That's good to have, because it shows that they can play through other lanes. Then at this point right here, Fudge ended up getting a quadra kill on the Victor. He played really good on Victor. I'll give him that. His best champion in mid lane is Victor. So him getting that champion, I was like, okay, he's probably gonna do pretty well on this. Lost ended up using his ultimate really early. Like, Lost was just straight up invisible most of the series, And yeah, he gets the quadra kill right there. I was like, okay, there you go, Fudge stepping up. You need to see that out of the Cloud9 mid laner, because when you're in mid lane, you have to be somewhat of a carry to at least be an X factor for your team, because you do not want to just rely on just one player, and especially playing mid lane, because mid lane is the most important position on the fucking map. That's just how it works, okay? So I was disappointed last week when Cloud9 played up against 100 Thieves and he was just invisible. I like that the series showed that he can definitely step up. Now, against Golden Guardians, it is definitely worse caliber competition, so you have to kind of understand that they did look good somewhat in this series, but it is against a team that is just also not that good either. Also, Lost was invisible. They chose to pick fucking Jin. I was sitting there going like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, what level of draft priority were they focusing on in Golden Guardians? I think Licorice played solid for them when he was on Gwen. Blaze Olive was stepping up on Ari in game 3, but overall, like, game 1 was just a shellacking. Like, just if Fudge and Summit can basically one-shot the ADC over the Baron pit, you know this shit just wasn't working. Like, people decently bet on Golden Guardians online on like all these other esport betting sites and shit like that. I never thought in my head that Golden Guardians had a chance of winning. You know, Cloud9 were definitely slumping, you know, to a certain extent. But to be fair, they did lose to 100 Thieves, who do have a really, really good team overall. You know? So later on during the game, obviously, that was actually kind of crazy. He actually leaped that far to get him, honestly. But yeah, Cloud9 ended up defeating Golden Guardians in this series. Sean, what did you think about this series between Golden Guardians and Cloud9?
This proved that Fudge is the best mid laner.
Oh, sure, definitely. Because the Blaze Olive was definitely beating that ass, right? Holy shit. So, yeah, now the rest of the game. So, game 2. Yeah, game 2. So, game 2, you had Licorice on Gwen, and it was actually putting out some pretty consistent damage. Berserker and Isles on Caitlyn and Lux, I overall liked. Fudge on LeBlanc was good, but they just ran into him. I'm sitting there going like, why is Lost right there?
They did run into him, but he did play like, jokes aside, he did play genuinely like really good. But again, that's why I'm confused with why he didn't play more Victor. I mean, I guess he was trying out more of his champion pool, but he has an insanely good Victor though, as showed in preseason. But for some reason, he didn't play it as much.
So I think it's very hard to do anything on Golden Guardians when their ADC was basically just playing for KDA. Yeah, like, Golden Guardians are just so bad. And I'm not going to be one of those...
That wasn't Lost before, though, in the season. He wasn't playing for KDA, but now he is in this series.
I don't know what he was doing in this series. Playing for KDA, playing for vacation, or early vacation time.
Yeah.
Fudge...
I mean, again, Blaze Olive was good despite not... Well, no, he wasn't very good in this series, but he tried his best compared
not
to
in
his
game
team.
1. In game 1 on Corki, he wasn't that good. On Victor, he played better. Definitely in game 3, he was stepping up, but at that point, you're already 2-0 down. It's over anyway at that point, you know? And I think having fans in the stage for Golden Guardians did the same thing that it did to Cloud9 the previous week. Cloud9 just had the added bonus because they were able to deal with that the previous week. And then now you saw them playing at the level that you kind of expect them to play last week, because, you know, having the fans back, I think, really did a number on like their issues on stage. Now, if Golden Guardians, if he's doing that to your support, basically two-shotting them with an auto and a chain, yeah, it's pretty bad. Now Golden Guardians, they did actively try to take out Cloud9's bot lane, you know, which was a good strategy because Lux and Caitlyn are going to do an immense poke, you know, to the rest of the team. And I like the Cloud9 composition. You have poke with Lux, poke with Caitlyn, poke with LeBlanc. You have the all-in with the Lee Sin. You have the knockers with the Orin. Great. Orin just has now come back into the meta, which is good. I like that Gwen and Orin are back. Gwen is a pseudo tanky carry top laner, which is good for a player like Summit. And now Summit knows through this series, he can play champions like Orin, champions like Gangplank, and his team is going to potentially step up when needed. I think Blabber had an okay series against Lee Sin, but they did give him Lee Sin, which is honestly one of his best champions, you know? So I don't know why Golden Guardians just kept opting into fucking Nocturne every single fucking game just blew my mind. Ole tried to make stuff happen, but there's nothing he can do when his ADC is basically just playing for KDA the whole fucking time. That's essentially it. Game 3, Golden Guardians try to do something. I don't know why they picked Senna. Why are they picking Senna? What's this priority, man? What is the priority on a fucking Senna? Fasting Senna. What is this priority? I don't get it. I don't understand it. They realize themselves Lost is so bad that we're just going to give him ADCs that aren't even good, not strong in a team comp, and will almost provide nothing. But the Senna does make sense when you look at this composition, but they know he can't play a carry champion to really get them anywhere, so they're just going to give him utility. If maybe he just provides utility, it'll be so much better for them. Then they essentially lost at this point in the game. Obviously, Ole just essentially hits like 2-shot by being melted by the Leona when he got caught out. Lost is just flashing over the pit. Bad positioning from him. Then you had Pride Stalker and a Blaze Olive essentially almost getting caught out. And then, this series basically just wrote itself. Cloud9 getting that 3-0 over Golden Guardians, which was really good for their mental. And now you are going to be looking at them moving on to the next round. The EG versus FlyQuest series. Holy shit. Basically, that series is terrible. I didn't want to even go over that shit. But here's what I'll say about the EG FlyQuest series. FlyQuest essentially drafted like shit. They put their mid laner to Coil on champions he couldn't really do anything with, and he's their star carry player. Takuli was one of the players that even got them into the position they are, and they just drafted like shit. You have to draft around him in order to have this team do anything, essentially. I just don't get it. They drafted like shit. They played like shit. So, I mean, let's be honest here. Most people expected them to lose to EG anyway. We expected it to be 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid and EG versus FlyQuest. And FlyQuest are gone. They're done. I mean, I don't really know what to say about FlyQuest, honestly. I mean...
Yeah, that's basically my opinion on it, honestly. But, yeah,
they just drafted like shit. More.
But again, this is why Takuli wasn't actually the best mid, though. He was not at all. He got outplayed by like 500 mid laners, but because the mid lane pool this year was such a shit show and back and forth of like a player outperforming one of the top players, but then getting outperformed by another one, I just went by like most valuable to their team, basically, for my all-pro team and my ranking.
I think he is valuable to his team.
Was, so that's why I ranked him first, and then Blaze Olive second, and Power Evil third, but yeah, he isn't. And this just
my thing here with FlyQuest is like, if you know he's the only player that can really carry through certain points in the game, you got to give this guy champions to do it. Giving him Orianna with the certain champions they paired it with was terrible. Like, what are they doing? Like, guys, but how bad they played, they deserve to be knocked out. Holy shit. Would you want that team going to... Imagine if FlyQuest would beat EG and made top 4. That is fucking terrible. All right. But now we get to the final hurdle of today's episode, which is the LCS 2022 Spring Split Top 4 playoff games. And you're getting to it right now. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 second right here. Let me go to Spring Playoffs right here. We have the matches right here. Got some bangers. Oh, this is the thing, because these are going to be some interesting games right here. So the first game kicking off on Saturday, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. Essentially a banger. 100 Thieves really picking up a whole bunch of steam toward the back end of the LCS 2022 Spring Split. Someday and Closer have been playing amazing as a top jungle duo the entire split. Abadage started stepping up. FBI and Huhi coming back to form, stepping up. Really good for them. Team Liquid has been good in a lot of areas. Really strong bot lane. Centauran that's becoming more of a carry-oriented jungler. Bjergsen taking a more of a supportive route. Bwipo being Bwipo is definitely a player to get stuff going for them, and is essentially the third best top laner in the LCS. This is going to be a really spicy matchup. It's hard to really pick for this, but I think out of what I've seen from the last best of fives that I've seen out of these teams, because this was a matchup we had last split for the LCS 2021 Summer Split playoffs. The first time around they faced, TL barely won against them. This one, TL had Jensen. Now, given this time around, could they beat 100 Thieves now with Bjergsen and Bwipo and Hansama? I think pound for pound, both teams have really good things about them. But I think someday, better top laner right now. For junglers, you could take closer, but I think it's relatively even based around how good Santorin is playing. Mid lane right now, Abadake has been stepping up, but Bjergsen has been really consistent for Team Liquid. It's essentially in more Bjergsen's favor. Bot lane, it could essentially go either way, but right now I'd probably favor Hansama and Core JJ more, but I wouldn't discredit FBI and Huhi either. Both teams are essentially, I have to win early game to essentially function. But I think if it gets to a situation in game where TL have to play out late game or who I think will have the better mid game, I think Team Liquid will have that. But I think in terms of better drafting and better ways of playing the early game, which matters right now more, 100 Thieves definitely has that edge. My prediction right now, whoever gets to the finals is actually, I'm predicting 100 Thieves. 3-1, 100 Thieves. I think they're the better team right now, and I think they have a better grasp of how to play out their early game, which is their strengths. Now, if 100 Thieves play to their strengths, I think they can make to the finals. Now, if Team Liquid win this, I'm not surprised. They're definitely really good. Now, if you're Cloud9, you do not want to face either of these teams next round. You don't. Now, if Cloud9 end up beating Evil Geniuses in this round, this is literally going to be our top 3 Worlds teams that went to Worlds last year in 2021. This would be the same top 3 from the LCS 2021 Summer Split if Cloud9 beat EG. Now, if TL beat 100 Thieves like last split, then Cloud9 have to face 100 Thieves again. It's all just deja vu right now, but that'll only happen if Cloud9 can beat EG. So I'm saying 100 Thieves win 3-1. Cloud9 versus EG. EG's shown a lot of weaknesses. Like, it's shown that they have to try these really weird draft strategies in order to actually get ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. Again, I'm going AFK because I'm on another stream. But yeah, I'll say my predictions quickly. Just Cloud9 3-1, and then if whoever moves on, then just I'll go 100 Thieves 3-1 if it's EG, and 100 Thieves 3-2 if it's Cloud9, and then I'll go Team Liquid 3-2.
Wait. Just wait. TL versus 100 Thieves. You're saying 100 Thieves?
Yeah.
And then Cloud9 versus EG.
Wait, never mind. Those matches, the finals week doesn't happen yet, right?
Fuck, are you? This guy's on drugs.
So I'm not paying attention, but yeah. Sorry, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. I'll go 3-2 Team Liquid, and yeah, Cloud9 3-1.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 beating Golden Guardians gives them enough momentum to start going through the lower bracket. I think they actually make the lower bracket run to the finals this time around. I have hope for Cloud9. Cloud9, do not disappoint me. I'm saying Cloud9 beat EG 3. I would say probably 3-1, honestly. But EG showed a lot of, what's the word I could use? EG has showed a lot of weaknesses in their draft and in their early game, actually. I think Berserker has played very well in the playoffs despite Cloud9 losing to 100 Thieves very early. And I think that also right there would give them the edge in the bot lane to a certain extent. But you also have Danny and Vulcan, who are a good bot lane, but their laning phase is questionable when it comes to the last playoff series we've watched from them. But I think Cloud9 pull it through 3-1 against EG, and 100 Thieves takes it 3-1 against Team Liquid. So that would put EG out, and these would be our top 3 Worlds teams fighting each other. But I think Cloud9 makes the lower bracket run to the finals. Now, do they win the finals? I don't know. We have to see that this week. Because remember, guys, one of these teams is out after this. It's done. So, Inspired, playing that Nidalee draft with Renekton when they faced Team Liquid, I was like, holy shit. And then they looked good against FlyQuest like Cloud9 looked against Golden Guardians. But like, let's be honest here, for both teams, did we not expect them to be in this position? Regardless, it's still top 4 for these 4 organizations. EG's been in top 4 contention for multiple splits since they've been a part of the LCS at this point now, which is very good for them, honestly. But they've never actually made it to that. No, they've made it to like 3rd place matches, but they've never been into a finals. I think EG could surprise. It just depends. I think Cloud9 with their recent win over Golden Guardians and getting Isles in makes a big enough difference to give them that edge over Evil Geniuses. And I think Summit and Impact are going to have a pretty good matchup there on the top lane. But I think with the 100 Thieves, I think FBI and Huhi can definitely outmatch Core JJ and Hansama. Just depends on where the junglers decide to dictate the pace of the game. We know Closer is going to gank for someday. We know Santorin's not going to really be up there for Bwipo. So Closer has been able to exploit the top jungle duos in the league with how he's been playing, right? So with Closer doing that with Someday, I think it's going to be really tough for Team Liquid to have their top jungle duo exposed by 100 Thieves. So, yep. That's it, guys. Next week, the episode should be out on Wednesday. A little bit early for you guys, about Wednesday or Thursday. I'll try to have it out for you guys. But yeah, EU is done. Korea's done. All we can pretty much look forward to now is just the LCS, and that's going to be done literally, by essentially next week. LCS is going to be almost over, and we have the LPL to look forward to. So, yeah, guys, it's been great to obviously, talk to you guys and do content for you guys, obviously. It's been a hell of a ride. But, yeah, see you guys later. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm the Nightwing, and Wave of Esports is signing out, guys. All right.